Alright you lot, welcome back to the channel where we don't just game, we question everything you thought you loved about gaming. Now let's be real, today's lineup is about to make some of you absolutely lose it. We're talking most overrated games ever. Prepare to feel attacked, cause we're tearing into some of the most sacred gaming cows out there. You know, kind of games people swear by, as if they're some holy grail. But are they actually as good as everyone says? Well, let's see about that. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe and all that bollocks. It helps the channel grow, keeps me an energy drink, and let's face it, your support gives me a reason to keep pissing people off. Alright, ready to dive in? Grab your popcorn and brace yourself. Let's get going. Alright, so here we go, diving straight into Hornet's Nest. You know those games everyone raves about, ones hailed as masterpieces by anyone with a controller and a Twitter account? Yeah, those. Today we're breaking down why some of these so-called legends might actually be a bit overhyped. Let's start with big ones. I can practically hear Legend of Zelda fans shouting the pitchforks right now, but I'm sorry, it has to be said, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yeah, it's a beautiful game. Yeah, you can wander aimlessly and hit a goblin with a stick. But come on, people act like it's reinvented gaming itself. It's an open world sandbox where you get to watch your weapons break every 3 minutes. That's real fun, innit? Look, it's not a bad game by any means, but is it worthy of sainthood? Let's be honest, maybe not. Next up we got a game that will have Halo fans seeing red, Halo 3. Ah, yeah, cultural phenomenon, pinnacle of first-person shooters. Or maybe, just maybe, a slightly upgraded version of Halo 2 with more grey corridors to run through and an endless multiplayer battles that quite frankly hadn't aged well. Sure, it was groundbreaking in 2007, but if we're really honest, it's like a museum piece now. And half the appeal is people remembering playing it with their mates after school. Nostalgia's doing a lot of heavy lifting here. And here's big un, Witcher 3. Yeah, I said it. Prepare for angry tweets. Now, before anyone screams, yeah, it's a solid RPG, and CD Projekt Red deserves all props for building a dense, story-driven world. But some people act like it's one true RPG. Yet combat's clunky, horse controls like it's got a broken leg, and let's face it, it's essentially Fetch Quest dressed up with lovely dialogue and medieval brooding. It's fun, but if I hear one more person call it pinnacle of storytelling, seriously? Look, these are good games. But maybe they're not holy grails people like to pretend they are. It's okay to enjoy something without needing to worship it. Alright. Next let's talk about Final Fantasy VII. You can practically see fanboys and girls typing up the rebuttals now. Yeah, it were iconic, it were revolutionary, and we'll all agree Cloud's air defies every law of physics known to man. But outside of nostalgia, is it truly as mind-blowing as people claim? Graphics look like they've been rendered on a pocket calculator, story is melodramatic soap opera, and gameplay is standard turn-based fare. This game wasn't called Final Fantasy, would it still be worshipped by half the internet? Think on that. Then let's take a swing at Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, before everyone in the cowboy hats comes charging, let me say this. It's a technical marvel. No denying Rockstar poured a whole studio's worth of blood, sweat and possibly a few employees' tears into it, but for every beautiful sunset and horse ride, there's an endless slog through chores disguised as realism. It's like Rockstar heard immersive and thought it meant simulate a second job. Yeah, it's detailed, but when I have to literally walk at a turtle's pace through camp cause Arthur's tired, I'm more than a little tempted to chuck him off a cliff. Enjoyable? Debatable. A masterpiece? That's stretching it. Oh, and how could we forget Minecraft? Yeah, that's right, I went there. Sure, it's spawned a generation of builders and it's basically Lego for digital age, but calling it one of the greatest games ever? Really? At its core, it's blocky sandbox with alt structure a fever dream, and it practically begs you to make your own fun because it's not offering much direction. Sure, it's creative, but it's also repetitive, and for those of us who like a bit more purpose in our games, it's just a never-ending pixelated grind. Great for kids, but best game ever? Hardly. Now let's talk about sequels, shall we? Because gaming franchises have this fascinating tendency to start off strong, make everyone fall in love, and then, well, let's just say the start feel a bit like reheated leftovers. You know what drill? Same map layout, same missions, same innovative mechanics they added 5 games ago. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry and Call of Duty. They keep pumping them out like clockwork, as if players won't notice they're essentially selling the same game over and over again. Take Assassin's Creed, for example. First few were revolutionary. Everyone wanted to die off a cathedral and stab Templar in neck. But now, it's like holiday package. Just swap ancient Greece for Viking Age and boom, new game. And same checklist gameplay every time. Climb a tall building, scout area, find 10 feathers, save a villager from being harassed by guards. When do they plan on actually moving the needle? Sure, they've added RPG mechanics, but does that make it fresh? Or just bloated? Then we got Far Cry. Oh, Far Cry. Franchise that keeps thinking, what if we take same formula but put it somewhere exotic? Let's face it, every Far Cry since 3 has been basically a copy and paste. Some big bad villain who monologues every 15 minutes, a vast open world full of outposts to liberate, and animals that randomly attack you while you're just trying to pick a flower. Far Cry 6 had audacity to throw in revolutionary narrative, only for us to find it with same freedom fighter stick in a new setting. They're starting to feel less like games and more like Ubisoft's annual tourist brochure. And don't even get me started on Call of Duty. Yearly cycle of military mayhem that, let's face it, hasn't evolved much since classic Modern Warfare days. Every installment tries to outdo last with bigger explosions, more dramatic set pieces, and yet another attempt at a meaningful campaign that's forgotten the moment you hit multiplayer. Sure, we get some new maps and guns, but in essence, it's just rinse and repeat. There's a point where consistency turns into, we'll just reskin last year's game and hope you don't notice. Now, there are exceptions. Resident Evil and God of War both managed to break free of the stale formulas and come back with fresh, reinvented experiences. Resident Evil leaned into survival horror again with Resident Evil 7, and God of War threw out Greek mythology and gave us Norse reboot we didn't know we needed. But for every franchise that reinvents itself, there are 10 that just keep dragging out same old tricks. So why do they keep doing it? Easy. It sells. If people keep buying these games every year, companies will keep milking that cash cow till it's dry as a bone. But at what point do we, as players, say enough is enough? When does a franchise go from can't wait for the next one to ugh, not another one? But honestly, there comes a point where these franchises stop being exciting and start feeling like they're just taking piss. Every year it's same copy-paste routine, and we're expected to lap it up like it's somewhat fresh. So let's rip into worst offenders and figure out where they went wrong. First off, Call of Duty. Now I know what you're thinking, don't mess with COD. But let's be real. We've been storming beaches, holding line and saving free world since 2003. And yet here we are, 2 decades later, still playing virtually the same mission. Each year's release tries to sell itself as gritty and realistic. Yet somehow every character is more bulletproof than a tank. And they call it innovation when they tweak recoil on M4. God ain't even pretending to care about storylines anymore, just shiny graphics and explosive set pieces. And yet every year we all pile in for the same annual shoot fest like clockwork. And now Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft bless them, seems to think that adding new historical setting and making map 10 times bigger counts as progress. But honestly, how many times can we climb towers, unlock bits of map, and stab some poor sod in a toga before it all starts to blur together? It's like they're just ticking boxes at this point. Ancient world? Check. Random side quests? Check. Some vaguely philosophical dialogue to get depth? Check. It's like they forgot that actual gameplay innovation could be a thing. Odyssey, Origin, Valhalla, they all start to feel like same game in different costumes. Assassin's Creed should be about thrilling, shadowy assassinations, but somewhere along the way it turned into bloated RPG where you spend more time finding iron ore than actually, assassinating. When do we finally say to these companies, look, we're tired of paying for the same game every year. It's almost like these franchises need a mandatory break, a little time off to let us miss them. Because right now, these sequels are more predictable than plot of a Hallmark Christmas movie. There's franchises out there that were once groundbreaking, revolutionary even, and now, well, they're about as exciting as waiting for a loading screen. We've all got fond memories, sure, but some of these games have been kept on live support way past their expiration date. It's time to send a few of them off to great game library in Sky. Now for the part you've been waiting for. Here at franchises that need to die, and why they're better off that way. Let's start with big one, Call of Duty. I know, every year we get another COD, and every year people flock to it like it's second coming. But at this point, they're just adding a fresh coat of paint to the same old war game. We get it, Activision. You've got Formula down. Same multiplayer mods, same recycled maps, same single player campaign where we save world. Again. COD's officially gone from thrilling to predictable. It's like fast food. Satisfying in small doses, but keep chowing down and it'll turn your brain to mush. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to give COD a break. Next on chopping block, Assassin's Creed. Now don't get me wrong, I loved franchise when it first came out. Hidden blade, rooftops, sneaking around in cloaks. Brilliant. But now, it's bloated RPG masquerading as an assassin's adventure. Somewhere along the line, series went from stealth kills to looting boar hides and leveling up gear. Every year it's Assassin's Creed generic historical setting edition. They're milking this cow dry, and it's starting to get embarrassing. Ubisoft, let's put this one to bed, yeah? And finally, Far Cry. Now, Far Cry 3 were brilliant. Baz were an unforgettable villain. Island were a blast to explore, and gameplay felt fresh. But since then, we've just had a series of Far Cry sequels that feel like glorified DLC. New setting, new baddie with philosophical speech, and same old outpost clearing grind. If I see one more liberate this area mission, I'm gonna need a drink. Far Cry, mate, time to hang up wingsuit. Look, it's not that these franchises weren't great at one point. They were iconic. But just cause something were good don't mean it should go on forever. Sometimes it's better to remember good times and move on. And hey, if they need to bring them back, let them actually innovate, not just repackage. Right, let's dissect this mess. Welcome to franchise Autopsy. We're rolling up sleeves, grabbing scalpel, and slicing into some of the biggest game franchises to pinpoint exactly where things started to go south. You've probably felt it too, that moment when you realise the series you once loved had lost plot. Let's start with Assassin's Creed. Remember when franchise were about, I don't know, assassins? Those early games had you sneaking through streets, taking out targets with stealth and finesse. But somewhere around Assassin's Creed Origins, Ubisoft decided we need a leveling system, loot and skill trees. Suddenly it wasn't about shadowy, thrilling assassinations anymore. It were about grinding to upgrade your cape. By the time Odyssey rolled out, you were basically a god fighting legendary creatures with magic powers. Look, Ubisoft, we wanted to assassinate corrupt leaders, not take down Cyclops. They traded thriller precision stealth for bloated RPG mechanics, and that's where all things started to unravel. Then we have Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2 were a masterpiece, and it set a gold standard for military shooters, but it didn't take long for Activision to turn COD into an assembly line. By the time Black Ops 3 hit, we'd moved from gritty military realism to futuristic parkour and jetpacks. COD lost its identity, morphing into a sci-fi shooter that felt like it were chasing trends instead of setting them. Activision forgot what made COD great in the first place. Tight, realistic gameplay that kept you on edge of your seat. When it started adding wall running and neon-lit maps, we all knew they'd strayed a bit too far from Battlefield. And finally, Far Cry. Far Cry 3 were a revolution in open-world design, with an unforgettable villain, a gritty story, and a sense of freedom. But then came Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5, and Far Cry Primal. Same formula, different locale. Every entry is like clockwork. Villain monologues, liberate outposts, climb towers. Ubisoft clearly found a recipe that worked financially, but creatively, it's a broken record. Far Cry stopped innovating and started banking on familiarity, which makes each new release feel like DLC for at last. Somewhere after Far Cry 4, series lost its soul. So that's turning point where these franchises went from thrilling to tired. It's a sad but predictable tale of success breeding complacency. In their heyday, these games set standards. Now they're barely keeping up with them. Look, gaming is a wild world. We get some true gems, but we also get a lot of cash grabs, lazy sequels, and franchises that hang around like a bad smell. But it's silver lining. As long as we call out these lazy practices and demand better, there's always up for the next big thing. After all, gaming doesn't stop evolving just cause certain franchises do, right? So here's what I want from you lot. Smash that like button, hit subscribe and drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. Which franchises should have stayed dead? What games have overstayed the welcome? I want to hear your rants, your rage, and your unfiltered thoughts. Because who knows? I might just feature best at best here on the channel. Thanks for sticking around till end, and I'll see you next time, you magnificent.